นัตติสันติพลังสุขขังความสุขอื่นยิ่งกว่าความสงบนั้นบ่มี Good evening everyone. How are you? I am coming back for a live stream again. Almost a week I don't have live stream. Why? Because last weekend I was a little bit busy. I have the Watsa ceremony for the Ambo, the ceremony for the Watsa. What's Watsa mean? Watsa, that's the rain season. This season that is raining. And Bhikkhu monk, venerable monk, have to stay in the same place until 3 months. From we call August, but in the Buddhist calendar, August full moons until November, the full moons. That is the Vatsa, 3 months. The monk doesn't go anywhere, have to stay in the same place. Why we have this rule? We have this Vinaya because long times ago, when the Buddha still have a life, the monk doesn't work, but the people, the devotee, lay people, they are working in the farm field. They growing the rice. So the monk walking for meditating, walking with mindful to the mountain to practice meditation. But there are many monks go together. So the monk stepping on the right field, in the field, make the rice, make the field damage with the monks walking. Sometimes stepping on the field. So the people complain the monk. Why? The monk doesn't stay at the same place. Why the monk doesn't practice at the temple? A lot of people complain about that. So when the Buddha heard about complaining of the people, and the Buddha said, we have to stay in the same place at the Vasa. You know, the bird, the animal, they have the nest to stay. The rat, they have the hole to live. Every animal, they have their own place to live. So the monk have to live, to stay in the same place at the Vasa, the rain season. The Buddha mentioned about the bee. The bee, they get the honey from the flower. The bee get the honey from the flowers, but they never kill the flowers. Do you know that? The bee never kill the flowers, never pee in the flowers, but the other insects, they make the flowers die. They damage the flowers, but the bees, no, never. They make the flowers flesh. They don't kill. So the monk living with humble, baking the food from the devotee, offering the food from the devotee, so the monk doesn't make the devotee get or feel disappointed about the monk. So the Buddha said the monk have to stay at the one place in the Vasa. But the monk can go only 3 nights or 7 nights if necessary. Example, if someone passing away, they invite monk for the funeral, the monk have to go 3 days or 7 days and coming back. Sometime in the family, they invite the monk to go to visit the mother, or the mother passing away, or the mother get sickness. The monk have to go to visit and come back, not over 7 nights. Or some monk in the other temple, in the other monastery, accused with each other, fighting with each other. The monk have to go, the head monk have to go to clear that problem and coming back. It's many things. The monk have to go, but come back not over 3 days or 3 nights or 7 days, 7 nights have to coming back. But some situation, the monk have to go forever. Don't stay in there. Why? For example, if the flood, The monk cannot stay in over there. The monk have to go away, never coming back, because it's a flood. Or sometime fire. If the fire, the monk have to go away, never coming back. Fire, the monk cannot stay there. Have to go. If you stay there, what's happen? Dead, die. Or if cannot make the arm, the arm round, nobody offer the food. The monk cannot bindabat. Nobody offer the food to the monks. The monk have to go away, to leave, never coming back, because the monk doesn't have food. If no food, cannot stay there. Or if the people, the devotee, the lay people, they fighting with each other and they broke up. Break up to be like a two groups of the people, and they leave that place. The monk have to follow them. Number one, the Buddha said the monk have to go to the big group. If the big group doesn't accept the monk have to make decision to go to the small groups of the people. So that is the Vatsa mean. Isn't many things about this, but just make for the example for you. So this Vatsa we are going to start at this year, July 29. July 29. Yeah, we start July 29 until November, the ending of the Vatsa, of the rain season. So tonight I came a little bit late, almost 7 o'clock in over here. I know in the Eastern maybe you go to sleep already, or in Europe you go to bed already. So this weekend I have some ceremony, but in the Sunday I think we have the meditation class to practice about mindfulness. If you are close to us, please come to join us at the class, meditation class. So how about everyone? Do you practice mindfulness every morning or evening or sometime when you have time? I know a lot of you go to camping. Maybe that is a good time to practice about mindfulness, in the forest, at the camp, in the jungle. But right now, everywhere is really boiling, it's really hot, you know, it's heating up. You have to be careful. Everyone have to take care yourself. Stay in the shade, or sometime you can, you know, go to the field to get the flash sunshine. Sometimes it's good to get the sunshine, but you have to be careful. You have the sunblock, right? The lotion. Why not? Because if you go, you get the sunshine, that that is good to get the vitamin D. Yeah, the vitamin D. But if too hard, it's not too good. You know, but whatever, try to practice your mindfulness. Okay, so today I am going to talk about the mindfulness, the third step of the Anapanasati. You know, Anapanasati, the mindful of the body. We have to clear whatever the position you're moving. You have to awareness. You have to know what you do. You know, this one they call mindfulness with clear comprehension. Clear the comprehension. Whatever the position you move, you do, you know, you have to know all the time when you practice the mindfulness. What the Buddha said, and again, monks, number one, a monk in walking forward and in walking backward applies clear comprehension. See, he said, when the monks walk forward or walk backward, that's we call walking meditation, or Đơn Chom Kum in my language. Đơn Chom Kum is walking forward and backward. But at that time, where is your mind? Where is your mind? Your mind is at your feet. When the right foot lifting, moving, and putting down, you know about that. You are aware all the time. You feel when the feet lifting, you feel it. It's lifting. When the feet moving, you feel it. It's moving. Or when it touching the ground, you feel that. The right foot or the left foot. Because this time the feet's moving. If you don't mindful with walking forward or backward, you cannot stay, you cannot uh, um, you feel like you are going to falling down if your mind is not in there. But you have to feel the whole body, but focus or concentrate in walking. When you walk forward and backward, you feel, you know it, all the time. If your mind go to somewhere else, the thoughts pop up, you have to pull it back, pull it back. It's like you feel it. You feel, oh, I forget to concentrate. You are unmindful, you know that. That is the first. Or in the second, what the Buddha said, in looking straight on and in looking elsewhere, he applies clear comprehension. Looking straight. When you walk meditation, you look not too far away, and it make your face look in front of you, or about 5 or 7 feet only. Not to look like this. Just concentrate. Look straight, or looking somewhere else, but looking somewhere else, you have to be mindful when you look, not unmindful. If you look with unmindful, you feel like you forget what are you doing at that time. Maybe you're just thinking about what you see, For example, when you see about the birds, you're thinking about the birds, just only one bird. If you make your mind thinking about that, oh, the bird, maybe he didn't have any friends, he didn't have any family, he very lonely, It's make your mind is create everything's up by your mind, but it's not true or not. We don't know about that bird. You never see his feeling, what he is thinking, right? But you make by your own. You forget what you do. So you're looking somewhere else, but you have to be mindful. You look about that. And then he applies clear comprehension, but you have to know clearly. You look at something and coming back. That is the second. And the third one, in bending and stretching his limbs, he applied clear comprehension. When the bending the body, or stretching the body, we have to know. You have to feel you stretching the body. When you move, the body is moving. What part of the body is moving? You know that. You feel it. You have awareness with that. When the moving, the bending, or sometimes when it goes straight ahead, it make the body tight. So you can see when I sitting, I like to do like this. Sometimes it's like automatic. Why not? Because sometimes when I sit, I feel sleep and I do like this. I have to straight it, and stretch and stretching it. Sometimes bending. It look like a exercise the body or something. But whatever, you can do it. You can bend your body. You can stretching your body. But you have mindful. You're mindful to move. What part of the body? That's number 3. How about number 4? Number 4, he said, in wearing the robes and carrying the arm bowl, he applies clear comprehension. Wearing the robe or carrying the bowl, about the monk. The monk have to wearing the robe. We have to be mindful about wearing the robe. Or to make arm bowl in the morning when the monk go to walking for food, from home to home. The monk will have to carry the bowls like this. But you have to clear comprehension that this he talked to the monk. But however, everyone, when you practice mindfulness, you feel like you know when you're wearing, when you're carrying, when you go somewhere. For example, you wake up in the morning, you make meditation already, and you go to work. Before you go to work, you have to know where is your key, where is your purse, and when you drive, you're mindful about that, about driving. You have to look at the mirror when you drive, on the left or in the right or behind. That is when you move. You have mindful about that. It's really difficult to get accident. If your mind is clear enough, you're driving, you feel like you see on the left or on the right or behind you, in front of you, all the time. I want to tell you about my story when I start practice meditation. At that time, I have really mindful when I driving. One day, I went to have the ceremony in New York, in Rochester, at the Pante Kamwan temple. After we finish the ceremony, I drive to Virginia. When I'm driving, I look at the car in front of me, and I really feel peaceful at that time. When driving is really stay still, really stay still and look just really mindful with the in street, on the street, on the road, or on the highway, freeway. The monk, he sit beside of me. He that is New Orleans monks. When he saw me driving, really stay still. He think I am sleeping, or I feel sleepy, because he didn't see my eyes. My eyes, big eyes, and he looked at me. He think I am sleepy. He's worried accident or something. He touched the wheel, He just do like this. He touched and do like this. I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, just wake you up." He said, "No, I don't feel sleepy. Why you do that?" Because my master is behind me, And at that time, they are sleeping. And they just make them waking up. And they said, "What happened?" I told my master, all the monk, he think I feel sleepy, and he wake me up. So, but at that time, I don't feel sleepy. I didn't feel sleep. But it's really stay still. Why he think? When the mind is mindful to do something, you don't have to it's like not much to pay attention to I don't know what to do. That's very hard or very difficult to do. It's really easy, And about number 5, the Buddha said, in eating, drinking, juicing, juicing or chewing, juicing, juice like this, juicing, and swallowing, he applies clear comprehension. It is clear comprehension. When eating, have to be mindful that you eat. So the monk eating sometimes take too long. When we practice meditation, the monk have to eat before noon. But when he start eating, whatever, 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, they're just eating with mindful, and drinking with mindful, juicing with mindful, swallowing with mindful, to clear. When eating, where is the rice? When swallowing in here, you feel the food is coming here and to the stomach. You know that? That is when the monks practice meditation. We have to be mindful. We have to awareness about that, you know, to be clear. He applies, the Buddha said, he applies clear comprehension. And number 6, in obeying to course of nature, he apply clear comprehension. You understand about in obeying the cause of nature? What is the cause of nature? You know that? Obey the cause of nature. That I think when the nature, what's happen with the nature? It's raining or raining. That's the right understanding. I think a right understanding. You know, raining or whatever. When the nature is hot or cold, we have to know that. He applied clear comprehension. Raining is raining, shining. You know, that's about the nature. Winning is winning. But we don't have to complain about the nature. Why is windy? Why is raining? Why is it hot? Why is cold? Why a lot of snow? No. If you complain about the nature, what's happened? You get suffering about that. You know, you get nothing but suffer, and you get suffering about that. That is number 6. Number 7, in walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking, speaking, and being silent, he applies clear comprehension. Whatever, walking, standing, you know you are standing. When you're sitting, you know you're sitting. When you're falling asleep, you know you're falling asleep. Sleepy. Like me. When I feel sleepy, I know I'm sleepy. When I take a walk, I walk for peace. You know, a lot of people, very crowded. I listen the Bhante Panyakala deliver the message. He gave the Dhamma talk. When I close my eye, it looks like only me in over there and him, because I listen him. I feel like nobody's in over there. But I know a lot of people is in over there. But they are really silent. Yeah. I believe that, you know, a lot of people, you can do it. Like 1,000 of the people, but really silent. Really silent to listen. I just thinking about when the Buddha gave Dhamma talk. After he finished Dhamma talk, many people can understand exactly about the Dhamma because they really listen. They listen about that. They listen carefully, you know, about the Dhamma talk. Yeah. At that time, when we walk for peace, if we have a lot of time, we don't feel tired, you know, maybe a lot of people understand about the Dhamma talk. You know, that is the seven clear comprehension about that. So, and the Buddha said, "Iti thus he dwells contemplating body in the body, internally, internally he see inside the body, or he dwells contemplating body in the body, externally, external in the about the body, not in the body but external about the body, or he dwells contemplating body in the body, both internally and externally. You feel only one time. You can see inside and outside. When your mind's clear, it's like your palm. You see like this. When you see the palm like this, you don't see the back. When your mind's clear, you see the palm, and you see the back palms in here, the back hand. Both. Why not? Because you said that the palm and the palm and the back in the same place. Or you can see inside and outside. Or you see really clear about your problem. When you have a problem, you see clear about your mind. In your mind, is it pure mind or unpure mind? Bad or good? Bad karma or good karma? Wholesome and unwholesome. That you see it all at the same time. That is when the mind is clear. And he dwells contemplating the phenomenon of arising in the body. Arising in the body. What is arising in your body? You know it. You feel it. Peace or unpeace. You feel in the body. You feel arising, the wisdom arising in your mind. You know it. You feel it. Or when the suffering arising in your mind, you know that is suffering. And then you know how to get rid of that suffering. And he dwells contemplating the phenomenon of the passing away in the body. Passing away is in here, like for example, when you feel peaceful, when you feel happy, sometimes it's passing away. That feeling is passing away. Passing away here is not die, but you know and you feel that is impermanent. The impermanent, because it's arising and passing away. Whatever the feeling. For example, when you get angry, you never get angry all the time. When you feel mad, you don't have mad all the time. If you really stress, you don't stress all day, no. If you feel bad, you don't feel bad all day. Just only 2 or 1 or 2 hours if you know how to practice mindful. When you feel bad, when you feel stressed, you practice mindful. Breathe in, breathe out. And that is passing away. That feeling is passing away. Yeah? Or he dwells contemplating the phenomenon of arising and passing away in the body. You know the same time what's arising or passing away. Every feeling, every second of the feeling is arising and passing. You know that? Because it's not. If you don't pay attention to that feeling, you don't have mindful enough about that feeling, you never see it. Because you just breathe in, breathe out. Or because your mind is in your body. You know? You just always worry about this, worry about that. But when you have mindful, you don't have to worry about the problem. You just you have to solve about that problem. Why you worry about the problem? Because you don't have much wisdom. You don't have enough knowledgement. That problem is bigger than your mind, your wisdom, your panya. You know, why you have to worry a lot. And so, he's mindful, the last. He's mindful that his body is maintained in him. He's mindful that his body is maintained in him. Understand that? I hope you understand. To the extent simply or simply? Just got you all that. To the extent simply for knowledge. You see, that is knowledge. That is really important. Knowledgement. We practice mindfulness. We have knowledge about mindfulness to solve about a lot of problem. The last one, only mindfulness. See? Only mindfulness. And the Buddha said, he dwells independent of craving and wrong views. He dwells independent and craving. Craving, that is a tanha. Tanha, anger, hatred, ignorance, greedy. You get independence of that. No more anger. No more greedy. If you don't have greedy, what you do? You have to give everything to another people. No. You know that what you should share to the world, what you shouldn't share to the other people. You know? You know about that? Something you shouldn't share. Some people you shouldn't share what you have. But some people you should share everything. For example, like your cousin, your family, what you shouldn't and you should, you have to share. But someone, no, you should share in your family, but you shouldn't share to the other. Or sometimes you shouldn't share with anyone. For example, if you know he take a drug, you gave him the money, he buy the drug to take. Sometimes you don't have to. You don't have to. But sometimes you have to. He didn't have food to eat. He is very hungry. He's very poor. He didn't have house to live. He didn't have any money. But he asked you for food, for clothes. We should. Okay? Again, he draws independence of craving and wrong views. And he clings to nothing in the world. He clings in here like he didn't attach with anything in the world. No attachment. Because you know already everything is impermanent, not permanent. If you attach, you suffer. If you detach, you feel free. You get independent of your mind. The conclusion of this mindfulness, he said, this is how monks among dwells, contemplating body in the body. The end of mindfulness with clear comprehension. Clear comprehension for today. Okay, everyone. Understand some? Leave me the comments. Leave me the question. I will answer later. And 1 hour already. I have a story. Let me talk about the story. I want to answer the question because I have the other question that's really important. Very important. She about the mind. She asking about the mind. But let me talk about the Dhammapada. Dhammapada is about number 7 of Dhammapada. Dhammapada, this Dhammapada, he said that just as a storm throw down a weak tree, so does Mala overpower the man. What's Malas mean? Mala, that is the enemy. The enemy. So does Mala overpower the man who lives for the pursuit of pleasures, who is uncontrolled in his senses, immoderate in eating, indolent and dissipated. You know what's mean? I know the meaning. I know what is the meaning. But my pronouns that is right. You know, but I will put it down in the live stream. I will wrote it again. So why the Buddha said about this Dhammapada? Because the story of the monks, two monks, brother and two brothers, older brother and younger brother. Their name is it Jula Kala and Mahakala. Jula Kala, that is the younger brother names, and Mahakara, that is Julakala, that is younger. Yeah, Julakala, that is the older brother. But the younger brother, he ordains to be a monk when he saw his own older brother to become a monk. But the older brother, he became a monk because he faith about the Dhamma. He understand about the Dhamma. He want to practice more about Dhamma. When he ordains only one years, he got to Arahant. You know, the highest what they call that he understand about the Dhamma clearly. You know, he is the disciple of the Buddhas already because he understand. But how about his brother? He disrobed, he quit, he stopped, become a monk. Why not? Because his own wife bother him when he practiced meditation. They just come to see him, to talk to him, but he didn't have Dhamma, enough Dhamma in his mind, so he disrobed. Just only the older brother. In one day, the older brother, he became Arahant already, but he has ex-wife. You know, and his ex-wife invite him with the Buddha, go to have lunch at her house. The Buddha and monks go together to have lunch. She offered the lunch already. After the lunch finished, she said, Buddha, please let Mahakan monk stay here for a while. And the Buddha said, that's okay. And the Buddha and the other monks left. Just only him. After that, his ex-wife, the old wife, maybe I think it's many, it's not only one, come to see him, to ask him to disrobe, to quit, to stop. But in his mind, no, never. Because he know that. He didn't have any feeling about that. So what he do? He is Arahant. He can fly away, meditate, and he left in that place. So he didn't stop, he didn't quit to be a monk because his mind is exactly understand. He didn't have the craving. No more anger, no more greedy, no more ignorance in his mind. So why the Buddha said this Dhammapada? Again, just as a storm throws down a weak tree, so does Mala, enemy, overpower the man who lives for pursuit. I am not sure I understand this word, pursuit, pressures, who is uncontrolled in his senses. The senses, like a sixth sense. Immoderate in eating, indolent and dissipated. The story of the monk. Okay, so let me find out the question that is really important. I talked to the other monk to understand about this question. But I saw a lot of question about the monk can watch movie or something like that. Yeah, the monk can watch movie, but what kind of movie? The Buddha movie. The Buddha movie. The chili of the Buddha that the monks can watch. Um, that question about who passing away when he sleep and passing away, and he die when he sleep. But at that time, where is his spirit? Where is his mind? I don't wrote it down. Yeah, I remember about that question. When someone sleeping and passing away, where is he going? How he is feel? Sometimes really peaceful. Sometimes it's really awful. Depend in the mind, and in the symptom. If the mind doesn't worry a lot, it's like a dreaming, right? Some people they dream like in dream there are a lot of people coming to get her or get him go to the heaven, and he goes with them and never come back. That's he died or she died. At that time, really, really peaceful. He went to the heaven because in his mind, pure mind, But someone is in pure mind, sleeping but dreaming like go to the hell, or we call Janyom Piban. Janyom Piban, what does it mean? The big guy to take you, take you to the hell. That is we suffer. It's impure mind. Why is impure mind? Because you have a bad action. You have a bad thought. You have a bad mind, impure mind. You go to the hell. But they were coming back. Or some people, when they dream about go to see someone who passing away, grandpa or grandma or whatever, where they are. If you feel that they are in the human, it looks like they are inhuman. When you passing away, you can coming back to be a human again. Sometimes it's peaceful, sometimes it's not. Depend on the mind. That is the mind of our why we have to practice mindfulness. Because we need peace. When you have peace in here, right now, you will have peace in the future. Or you will have peace in the next life. You are a human, but you feel like you are an angel. You can be angel when you're passing away. Okay, everyone. I think that is enough for today. It's over 1 hour already. Thank you so much for your watching and your comments and your star and everyone to support. I don't have anything for you. I have only my Dharma talk. I have only my message for everyone. But I feel so good to talk to everyone. Right now the talking is in my blood zone. Thank you so much. Get blessing. Okay. The video we want to Sabaloko Vinasan to Mate Pawad Tala Yosukiti Kayuko Pawapiwan Tanazile Zane Janguta Panjani no Jata Loda Mawatandia Yuano Sukhang Lang Satu Satu Satu. Good night. Have a good dream. Bye bye.